Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Steel City Resistance. Let me thank Mr. Ward Miller for helping us with that intro track. And as usual, welcome everybody, and let's open up the Southern Command and welcome my partner, Mr. J from Orlando, Florida, to the program.
Thank you, Hutch. The Southern Command is armed and activated and a little bit on the tepid side, my friend.
Okay, why don't you elaborate on that, sir?
It's warm here, buddy.
Yeah, it's warm here too, believe it or not. It's been a heck of a warm weekend. A little bit of rain, but really warm, man. Unseasonably warm. Hopefully, everybody realizes that one of the things you got to do here on Spreecast, it's an excellent platform, but every now and then the videos do not autoplay. So if you ever see a video come up with a play icon in the middle, just hit it, and you'll be able to watch whatever we have. And the quicker that you hit it, the quicker you'll be in sync with the rest of the program. Want to welcome everybody to the show that's in the chat room. Virgin Islands is looking a little interesting. Welcome to you. But I wanted to take some time, Mr. J, right now at the top of the program, just to explain to our audience some things that are going on. We're winding down toward the end of the year, and man, it's been a gangbusters end of the year, and some things have really developed and changed. And I think we owe it to the audience, those in the audience that don't follow us on other venues, an explanation as to where we're going. We've kind of taken this show, which started out as a show from the city of Pittsburgh on international and national issues, and kind of expanded it. And right now, we're in a situation, Chris and I, we've affiliated the show with the Team Ninja Network, uh, and we're uh, associates on several different projects and programs. And I'll tell you, Mr. J, I'll tell you, it's getting to be a full time job, which is fine. However, I'm going to have to ask you when we get offline at some point to help me with that donate button because this is a deficit operation uh, as it currently stands. And I'm putting almost as much time into this as I am my full time job, and I'm not complaining. Don't take that the wrong way by any means, but if we can squeeze a little orange juice out of it, we might have to do that. But what I'm talking about is currently we do Steel City Resistance. And those of you that have been with us for a long time remember Cold War Radio. Well, Cold War Radio is about ready to come back online. We also do the Wayne Dupree show on the radio. From time to time, we get in there on FTR radio, and it looks after this weekend, we were last night. Let's see here. We were, where did I put it? We were on the Constitutional Patriot Radio Worldwide Media and had a tremendous following for our debut show, the Wayne Dupree show. But Chris and I, or Mr. J and I, were both on the panel. And what happened was we were on. This is Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, South Africa, and the United States. We were on there, and we had massive technical difficulties during the first hour. One of our partners was on the program, Alyssa. She was on the first hour, but she had to leave. And luckily, Mr. J was standing by, monitoring events, and let us know how the audio failed and everything. And we were finally able to get it right by the second hour. And we did a tremendous, had a tremendous listenership.
Absolutely. I was so surprised. But that's kind of the way we have been rolling with our partnership with Team Ninja. We keep, making great strides, upgrades. The audience is growing. We're going more places. We're talking to more people. We're covering more news.
Absolutely. And it's getting to be more uh, of a production. I mean, we just came out of a meeting. There's about 10 members, and we're actually going to a planning meeting, a summit next month in South Carolina to make sure that we're doing, everybody's on the same sheet of music, and it's really looking good. And I just wanted everybody to know that we are affiliated with several other people, and if you can listen to the Wayne Dupree show or watch, I failed to mention one of the biggest events in my social media podcasting career to date. was Saturday or Friday night, or was it Thursday night? It was Thursday night, right?
Yes, sir.
Thursday night. We also from Tuesday to Friday, from 8 to 9 p.m. We're on this network on Spreecast on the Wayne Dupree Show, and we're both full time members of that panel. And we, Wayne, who is the CEO, he had a hand in the Facebook page to get Phil Robertson reinstated back on A&E or boycott A&E. And we were doing that show, and I'm gonna tell you some numbers. I don't like to do that, but they're right there. You can see them when you go on the trending page anyway. But our best shows were right around 1,000 viewers. You know, maybe two. I think we had one that was almost two. When we got off that show, at any given time there was 2,000 people watching the show live. And then when we, right as soon as we got off the air, 30,000 people had watched the program. Now, 3 days later, it's still trending number one at Spreecast. I'm talking about over everybody else, with 80,000 viewers. And that was, to me, that made my weekend and gave me the little jolt in the arm I needed to keep going.
Yeah, it was an impressive turnout, and the second night was, an impressive. Friday night was a fantastic turnout as well. I mean, and this was an issue that just everybody gravitated to, and a lot of Americans related to, and they got a chance to speak out. It was, as Alicia Smith said, was truly amazing.
It was. I mean, it was something. And let me just say that Leisha's behind the scenes and a rock for us. But it was something that I think it was during the same time frame that this Duck Dynasty montage was going on or something. But there was 30,000 people watching us live, and that humbled us all. I mean, we kept the show on for an extra half hour, I think, and that was just amazing. So we hope that continues. We're really looking forward to the CPR Worldwide Media Network. I mean, that's a little bit. If you listen to that, it's not NPR. It's hard hitting. There's no joking around there. But it's an excellent venue. I like the platform. Hopefully, like I said, we'll get Cold War Radio back on the air. That's something that's near and dear to my heart. Live radio, there's nothing like it. This is awesome too. I mean, this is good. But radio, there's something about radio and me. I guess I have a face for radio. I don't know what it is, but it's seen out on television on Thursday night. I'll tell you that. Anyway, that being said, I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. And here you can see some of the other members uh, of Team Ninja. And this is from all of us to all of you. Steel City Resistance, a proud member of the Team Ninja Network. I see how we saved the best for last there, too, Mr. J.
Absolutely. Um, we got a interesting turn of events here in Chicago. Um, there was a Tea Party like rally, and there's three things I'd like to bring up about that. But did you catch the video?
Yeah, I did, and the funny thing about it is it morphed into a Tea Party rally. That was your regular racist Al Sharpton put that thing together. That was supposed to be not what it turned out to be.
Yeah, and there's 3 points I want to touch on. First of all, one of the guys actually blamed Barack Obama for putting Rahm Emanuel in the mayor's seat, which is kind of strange because they voted for him, but maybe they just trusted Obama's judgment on it or something. I don't know. But another point was they said don't just blame white people, blame the right people, the people on the fifth floor. Now, there's two ways to take that. I don't know if that was a shot at white people or a shot at the people on the fifth floor, but I don't know. It was kind of interesting. And this one feller said, we're going to have a town hall like what those Republicans call the Tea Party. It's kind of interesting play on words. So it's obvious they're not really thinking of switching to the Republican Party, but maybe they're actually considering maybe taking a harder look at who they're putting in office in these positions of mayor and alderman there. And it's been a disaster for them. Their neighborhoods are trashed. They talked about all the boarded up houses, the crime, the schools being shut down. I can understand why they're angry, but a lot of the blame comes right back at them.
They blamed themselves, though. I don't know themselves. I don't know if you saw the one gentleman that came up and said, you guys talk all this stuff, you blame Obama and this, that, and the other. You people voted for Rahm Emanuel 99%. He came right out and said it. You self inflicted this. And yeah, the guy with the Tea Party thing, he said, we're going to have some real time. This guy was 80 some years old. He was having trouble getting his words out. And I'm a little bit more, well, I'm optimistic in the people, but you have to understand Chicago politics. It's not like politics anywhere else. I mean, the mayor of Chicago is more powerful than the governor of Illinois. Uh, this is something that's totally backwards. All the positions are bought and paid for. There's nothing but cronyism, which they know. In that room, they know it. Uh, Hopefully, they'll try to vote themselves a little bit more freedom. I mean, Chicago is one of the few cities, and it's a Democrat city, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's a physically segregated city by design. The interstates were set up a certain way, and it's segregated. It's physically, you can say minorities live in this district, white people live in this district, and it is what it is. I mean, it's horrible. It's a horrible situation. And I mean, this is the home of Cabrini Green and Louis Farrakhan and everything else, So it was refreshing to see. It was. It was. I'm sure Al Sharpton was an uncomfortable brother.
Absolutely. And, their aldermen have blocked businesses from creating jobs in those neighborhoods. What a way to hold down the people. I mean, I think Target and some of the other box stores wanted to put stores in there, and the aldermen will block them. And these people want the jobs, and they had them on TV saying, "Hey, we want these jobs," but the aldermen keep blocking them, saying they hurt small business. Well, in a place that doesn't have any business, some business is better than no business.
Yeah, that's just like in D.C. They did the same thing with Walmart, trying to make them pay the employees $900 an hour to work at Walmart. That's really not going to work. But so hopefully they're waking up there. We'll see what happens. It'll be a miracle if it happens there. If Chicago, if somebody goes in there, a viable candidate. Now the guy uh, that was talking about the don't blame the white people, he didn't say don't blame the white people. He said don't just blame the white people. Blame the people on the fifth floor, which is mostly white people. But he was an ex-con. I mean, his whole program. He ran as a Republican, and he was an ex-con, and his group is empowering ex-cons or something like that. So I mean, you could tell by his vernacular that he wasn't a serious guy. I mean, well, that's not fair. He could be a serious guy, but he's not very polished. Let's put it that way. So I can sit here and be politically correct. He's a thug, all right. Um, Now we're gonna talk about this if we get to it. I purposely took our Duck Dynasty story and put it all the way down the bottom because that's all everybody's talking about and everybody understands everything that's going on there. I will mention one thing about it that to me is bigger than Duck Dynasty, and that is, can we take this opportunity to leverage the fact that American Christians are standing up for something for once this 100 years?
Absolutely. I mean, this issue has really inspired me, and it's coalesced a lot of people. And it's something I think a lot of Americans can relate to. And the problem is with the left. I mean, people watch this show and they know these people because they've been watching them so long, and all these accusations, it just doesn't fly with the viewer. I mean, they know these people. I mean, their whole life is in front of them every episode. So I think it's easy to see why the left lost this one.
Absolutely. And more importantly, again, I would say that the awakening of the American Christians are getting murdered all over the world, and anybody who's ever watched this show knows that, because it's something that I think is it's despicable that the American clergy is not front and center. You should, I mean, maybe they're out there and they're trying to get on camera and people aren't letting them. I don't think that's the case. But I would say go to your local parish and ask your religious leaders, where in the hell are they on this? I mean, there's genocide being committed out there, and any other religion would say something about it. And it's just this is how organizations like GLAD and all the rest of them, the ACLU. This is the only reason that they come close to succeeding is because we never say anything. You can't be afraid to be a Christian. That's not what. And this is not a religious show, but this is about our way of life and our politics is in this, whether you like it or not, and you can separate the church and state and do what all you want, but this is the way we live, and that's what it's all about, and this is part of it. And they're trying worldwide to extinguish us. Let that sink in. They're trying to kill us. And if they could kill you right here, they would be doing it. So we can't let this foothold uh, in America go. I mean, I'm not going to anyway. Hopefully, that's how a lot of you feel. But that's just something. The Christians are rumbling. There's a little bit of fear being lost here. I think people are starting to talk. And one of the most excellent things that happened this weekend, um, the National Broadcasting Corporation is experiencing a little bit of their stupid for the last many years, but especially the last 5 or 6 years. They have totally changed from a semi objective, left leaning news network to an employee of the administration.
They absolutely have, and they say even Meet the Depressed, one of their flagship shows, may get the axe. And I was reading on this. I mean, they're talking about eliminating their people that actually gather news.
Yep.
Let that sink in for a minute. I mean, if they're not there, if they don't have the people to gather the news, what are they delivering to their viewers?
Well, they're talking. Their
It must be
CEO,
propaganda.
yeah, their CEO's talking about going all National Enquirer. I mean, that's what they're talking about doing. I mean, they're looking at people like Dick Gregory, or I might get the names wrong, whoever their head guy on the pulpit is, and axing them. I mean, they're talking about cutting some of these big time people because they're not performing. Nobody's watching them. I mean, the ratings are. It's the business model. They're the ones that decided to run Chris Matthews' retarded ass. I mean, I don't see how you can put him out there with a serious face and call yourself a news organization. And these guys that are on NBC, they think they're insulated. They go on MSNBC all the time. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm a little bit sad because the company is a great American company. They pioneered color television and just all kind of things. It's just sad to see them go down like this.
It is, but the business model, they know what works. If they were doing news like they were supposed to, they would have the viewership. But they're being run by a bunch of leftists that want to give us a bunch of propaganda. And we know from experience that progressive television cannot stand on its own. I mean, our progressive media altogether. I mean, what are they left with on the radio? NPR, and you look at CNN, you look at MSNBC. The ratings are well below. I mean, they're just miserable, and they're basically throwing in the towel. What it looks like, and saying we don't want to be a news company. We just want to be an entertainment or an opinion company.
If they would have just shot the news straight, they would have had a chance. I said that from the beginning. Any one of those networks could break out and catch up. I mean, all they'd have to do is tell a little bit of the truth, and it's going to hurt them because after all this water carrying, they're going to be forced to tell the truth in the next year. I mean, it's going to be impossible for them to hide behind anything. I mean, this is going to be a steamroller that comes through here when these employer provided health care plans start being canceled. And I mean, things are going to happen before that. No telling what's going to happen. Now, I love when the free market. The power of social media is so great that in 2 days we managed to turn around A&E and Cracker Barrel. I mean, that's a breaking news right there.
It is, and the Cracker Barrel thing, it really happened quite quickly. The people at Cracker Barrel wised up. I mean, do they not know their customers? They're country people going into a restaurant that serves country food and country trinkets and comfort food. I mean, what did they think? Why did they even think they needed to have a horse in this race? I don't understand why. But anyways, they apologized, and they apologized for offending, their customers, which was nice. But it was a fight they really didn't need to get involved in.
And the people that go to Cracker Barrel, I mean, the best thing Cracker Barrel has going for it is that fireplace. I mean, that food's not really, I mean, maybe a little bit of one or two items, but I mean, it's not all really that good. And you got folksy people going in there. And yeah, that was just pure stupid, I think. Now, you brought something up. We had the commercialism aspect of Animal Farm that we have here when it comes to Christmas is somewhat disturbing to me. You brought a story that talks about that.
Yes, this happened in your neck of the woods, buddy. But it's probably
Yeah, I
happened
remember
all.
this. That was on the north side. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening all over the country. Let's be realistic. The police were called on a crowd that was waiting for toys at a Salvation Army. Now, the Salvation Army, gives away toys to needy families, and they have all these people standing in line to get the free toys, and they open the doors, and all hell breaks loose. Everybody's cutting in front of everybody else, hoping to be the first one to get the stuff. And it's really sad because, a lot of this stuff is not, they're not giving away flat screen TVs for crying out loud. This is $5 and $10 toys from the dollar store and whatnot. And it's sad. And these people really don't deserve anything. And people standing in line for stuff like this, it just takes me, for some reason, my mind goes back to the Soviet Union, people standing in bread lines.
Yep.
I won't, I won't stand in line for anything. It's crazy.
It is sickening. I mean, it makes you want to just shut off the whole charity thing. But then you hurt people that you really don't want to, and that's just an ugly circle, I guess. Ladies and gentlemen, your weekly Jihad report, December 14th to December 20th. 53 Jihad attacks, 14 Aloha snack bars, 319 dead bodies, 665 critically injured. Islam's latest contributions to peace. On the 22nd, in Aguirre, Libya, 7 people are pulled into pieces by a Fedayeen suicide bomber. On the 21st, Jamrud, Pakistan, a polio worker is machine gunned in his clinic by Muslim radicals. On the 19th, in Baghdad, 17 Shia pilgrims on foot are blown to bits by a Sunni suicide bomber. On the 19th, in Abu Ghraib in Iraq, a family of 5, including 3 children, are exterminated in their home by Al Qaeda. On the 18th, Samarra, Iraq, a Shia child is machine gunned by Sunni terrorists. On the 18th, in Miran Shah, Pakistan, at least 5 are killed by a Fedayeen suicide car bomber. Sources for individual incidents can be provided upon request. The religion of peace, ladies and gentlemen, one body at a time. That's always good to hear during the Christmas season. But we had a development in Alabama that maybe we can start. cleaning this up a couple jihadis at a time.
Yes, we have 15-year sentences for two American-born jihad plotting Muslims. Citing a lack of remorse and a failure to renounce their intentions to commit violent jihad abroad, a federal judge Friday sentenced a pair of silent men to the maximum punishment for a plot hatched in Alabama. Now, I want you to listen to this one guy's name here, Randy Rashid Wilson and Muhammad Abdul Rahman, both 26, will spend 15 years in prison for conspiracy to provide material support to terrorists and then will be supervised by the U.S. Probation Office for 3 years. U.S. District Judge Christy Dubois said she read hundreds of pages of recorded conversations and intercepted emails from the defendants and searched for evidence that they were just talking a big game. And she added that she had reserved judgment, hoping they would renounce their intentions. Unfortunately, there is no reasonable conclusion that their conversations were for the primary purpose of committing violent jihad. She said, I don't have to speculate about that. So it's rather strange. The one guy has a Arabic name, but the other guy is as American as apple pie,
Yeah,
and it just goes to show how they're infiltrating our country.
yeah, and they'll go into prison and they'll be part of the Muslim Brotherhood in there, and they'll be heroes and everything. Actually, the guy with the Abu Qadar moved to Mobile after Egyptian authorities arrested and deported him. Uh, the two spent months discussing the best country to move to in order to defend Islam, according to court records. They then tried to board a plane for Africa. The FBI started monitoring them in 2011. They threw some undercover agents in there, posing as a married Muslim couple who had just moved to Mobile. And the male agent approached Wilson at the car lot where he was working at the time. And anyway, I like when they do that, though. That's something. It's good to see them on their game because these people are at work everywhere. So good for you, FBI. You don't get that much, I know. Now, something that's I've been preaching for a long time is that our language has very craftily been ideologically biased by progressives in education and in the media. And what I'm going to do that this is by Jack Kerwick, um, and he says from Barack Obama to Pope Francis, the subject of income inequality, that's a key word, has been rolling off the tongues of some of the planet's most visible figures over the last couple of weeks. And some of them have even declared it the defining challenge of our time. So they're constantly trying to set the narrative using the language. In his book, The Fatal Conceit, The Errors of Socialism, F.A. Hayek reminds us of this pearl of wisdom from Confucius. When words lose their meaning, people will lose their liberty. And we've been preaching that on all shows for a long time. And what I'm going to do now is just call out a couple words and try to illustrate how they have actually been used as weapons to make you think differently and to make other people move like sheep. Capitalism is one of them. As Hayek notes, it was invented by German academic and self described convinced Marxist Werner Schumbart. Friedrich Engels commended Schumbart on being the only German professor to have achieved a genuine understanding of Marx's Das Kapital. Capitalism conjures, and is meant to conjure, an image of consciously designed system intended to serve the interests of a minority, the owners of capital, at the expense of the overwhelming majority of us, the laborers. Clearly, the word itself cooks the case against such a system. Free market economy is also problematic in that it implies the existence of something that exists over and above the sum total of the countless transactions of the billions of individual human beings that comprise it. So, when you look at the free enterprise system as another common term, not without its challenges, it's better than both capitalism and free market economy. It is true. but it still suggests a premeditated system designed to marshal all agents into the service of one grand enterprise. Distribution is another word. Now, you've heard these people, ladies and gentlemen, use these terms, and anytime a leftist comes out, any leftist, it's always pitting rich people against the working class. And I saw a good one, Mr. J, on Facebook today. It says, when the rich people in the trickle down system leave, you get Detroit, and that's so true.
That's exactly right. And, the president has decided to take this as his cause going in, one of his causes in 2014, income inequality. Ironically, the income inequality has grown under his leadership. And, the rich are doing just fine under this president because, they can adapt.
Let's take that a step further with the equality, and let's make this a teachable moment. Between any two human beings, all manner of differences can be found. Among large numbers of human beings, the differences promise to be staggering, and when those human beings make their dwelling in a free society, their differences from one another will be infinite. Ironically, it's just those who insist upon the moral imperative of rectifying differences in income who otherwise are admonishing us to celebrate our differences or our diversity. This is one reason they will never abandon the word inequality in favor of the more honest term of difference when speaking of differences in income. Yet there is another equality. Equality before God and or under the law has been a moral ideal in the West for centuries, at least since the dawn of Christianity. This ideal has enjoyed a particularly privileged position in the American imagination since the founding. The champions of redistribution exploit this fact by assuming a priority that differences in income are violations of the moral ideal of equality. That is, they assume that income differences are inequalities and thus immoral. And that is bizarre. You either work hard, you either go to school, get smart, get educated, make good choices, work hard, or you don't. It's just that simple in the United States. And that's it everywhere you go.
Yeah, well, these leftists want to convince people that there's no chance of any upward mobility in their life. They're stuck, and it's some rich guy's fault. But there's so much evidence, and we see it every day. People invent a service, create a service, invent a product. And you look back at Dell and some of the other ones. Dell started out in a garage. They start off with nothing and they just make a product and move it forward and they become wealthy. But, they keep telling so many people that, you don't have a chance at this.
And it,
You're way out of your league here. You'll never amount to anything. And the language that they use, just like we're reading about here, um, is how they do it.
and one thing's for sure, if you follow the edicts of the left, if you're promiscuous and you don't pay attention in school and you take handouts from the government and do what they tell you to do and dress up like a pajama boy and everything else, you'll be in poverty. Trust me. I mean that's the easiest way to get there. Actually, well, I'm not even going to go down that road right now. We got too much to cover. But uh, Egypt and Russia, we talked about this too, and I'll be glad to get Cold War Radio back on the air. Well, I hope chat room saying they can't hear me and I'm frozen. That's usually on the receiving end. I'm hoping nobody else is complaining. So hope you get that straight, Mike. Egypt and Russia Cold War alliances revived. This is the tragedy of Barack Obama right here. It's the second tragedy. My number one tragedy is all those explosions I talked about in the jihad report that happened in Iraq. That's the first tragedy. Him giving Iraq back to Al Qaeda. But the other one is this whole Middle East, all these alliances that have been built for decades are falling apart, Mr. J. I mean, this is just something uh, we're going to have a totally different um, canvas to deal with in the world if we're able to take control back from these communists. I mean, this is horrible.
It is, and the U.S. support for the Muslim Brotherhood and the nuclear deal with Iran is propelling the Arab world into the arms of Russia. The Egypt government, formerly a U.S. ally, will buy $2 billion in arms from Russia, signaling a strategic realignment in the Middle East that leaves Putin in control. Egypt's open embrace of Russia started immediately after the Obama administration suspended some military aid to the Egyptian government in response to the overthrow of President Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood. While American aid continued unabated after the Islamists took over, it was cut after they were overthrown.
Did you see that?
And you're right.
Did you see that they were indicted in Egypt?
Yes, I did.
I mean,
And
unprecedented. This is just something that uh, the United States of America, you and I, ladies and gentlemen, we sent money to the freaking Muslim Brotherhood. We did that. We did that. Think about that. That is that's going to haunt them. I mean, it might not. Everybody's shell shocked right now, but we've been doing this so long, Mr. J. I think Steel City Resistance, within the first two episodes, we were talking about the Muslim Brotherhood.
yeah, and Egypt is really doing the right thing here. They're cleaning house. I mean, these people had a taste of some semblance of freedom, and then they were convinced by United States and others to, let this Muslim Brotherhood thing, give it a whirl and see what happens. And it didn't work out. These people, had a taste of freedom, and then all of a sudden it was taken away. And we need to support Egypt in this. And this president has no intention of doing so, apparently, and has opened up a huge opportunity for Russia. And Russia's the smart one here. They're taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I put something up there. Terry says you better start covering the Muslim Policy Advisory. Oh, I didn't hit the more button. Council, MPAC. Oh, when you said MPAC, I thought you were talking the Mature American group. I didn't know you're talking about the Muslims. But yeah, there's been a deep infiltration, unfortunately, even into the Republican Party. And you can go to the website steelcityresistance.blogspot.com, and up at the top it lists the pages. And one of them is the research room. And Frank Gaffney puts on a very good course on that. You see all these people loving on Grover Norquist. Grover Norquist is a bad guy, man. He's bringing Muslims into the Republican Party. I'm telling you. And you look at Ebiary, that's in the Department of Homeland Security, and you have Louis Gohmert up there questioning the Wicked Witch from Arizona, Napolitano, and nothing ever happened. She leaves, and the Muslim Brotherhood is still there. They are at the Department of Homeland Security. This is Alice in Wonderland. This is something that when this is all said and done, they're going to make movies about this. And unfortunately, they're going to make movies about the people that aren't watching this show right now. The ones that are out there watching something else that are just asleep and totally in denial. And one of the reasons that I do shows, I mean, this is something that we got to wake these people up. We really do. You guys got to help us do that. But also, we have Saudi Arabia is embarking on a similar course. Saudi officials now openly talk to reporters about how their country will be more independent in reaction to U.S. policy. Reports about the acquisition of Pakistani nuclear weapons are met with non-denials. The Saudis offered Russia a strategic alliance and major oil partnership if Putin abandons the Assad regime. This is something. This genie's coming out of the bottle. I mean, it is. It's just something that our new reality is going to be. Either we're going to have to nuke some of these people, or we're going to be cowered by them. I don't know what else you do at this point. I think you should take all these people that allowed it to happen, and they should all be in Leavenworth. I mean, this is something that they did on purpose.
And this president has taken decades of progress and threw it right out the window. And Russia is we talked about on other shows. Russia is rearming, they're reopening bases, they're placing missiles around strategic areas, even close to Europe. A report came out this week, and it's totally empowering, Russia to move in on these, areas that we had alliances with, and it's making our presence small. And there's, and the support for the United States in the Middle East just continues to plummet, and it's a disaster. And it's gonna take a long time to undo this.
Absolutely. And what are they doing in the United States Army? They're taking captains and majors and letting them go, releasing them. So now you have a morale situation where you've told these young men and women, you go to school and get a degree, and you can come in here as a commissioned officer, and in 20 years you can. I'm talking active duty soldiers. 20 years you can have a retirement, or you can keep going, and they get them before they have enough years to get a retirement. They get them at major and captain, that don't have 20 years yet. It's hideous. It's class warfare within the military, and it's designed to lower morale. I mean, everything they've done with the military has been designed to lower morale. And then we have Chinese military lashes out at Japanese defense documents. So now you have trouble brewing in the Middle East and in Asia. You have Chinese military on Friday accused Japan of using the pretext of safeguarding its own national security and regional peace for military expansion. The Japanese government approved its first national security strategy on Tuesday. Based on it, new defense program guidelines and a midterm defense buildup plan were also adopted. That's the first time that happened since 1945.
Absolutely. And China is firmly opposed to Japan's relevant actions, said Defense Ministry spokesman Gang Yangshin in a statement. He said the three documents aimed at playing up the Chinese military threat, increasing regional tensions, and is using the pretext of safeguarding Japan's own national security and regional peace for its military expansion. Now, on the other hand, Japan claimed that it is a peace loving country and that it adheres to a defense policy and will not be a military power. On the other hand, Japan is peddling the so called proactive pacifism, said Gang. Now, these guys are planning, Japan is planning to purchase advanced armaments like F 35 stealth fighters, surveillance drone fleet, and destroyers, and try to form a fast response amphibious unit. So this thing's heating up, and,
It's
and a lot of it has to do with energy.
it's yeah, energy and all natural resources. That's right. That, and you have a situation in very populous China where you had a one-child policy for 25 years, and all those young men are growing up. They're all military-age males right now. They have a big surplus of them. So we'll just have to watch that. But it's very serious, like you said, and it's not just China and Japan. South Korea's in that too. They have a sizable military and very capable. Uh, Now this was somewhat of a shock to me this weekend because I didn't know that we were even involved. And apparently, we do that all the time now. We have full-blown military operations that nobody knows about. And I'm sure if you asked the president that he didn't know about this. But three U.S. military aircraft were hit. Three U.S. military aircraft were hit in South Sudan. Four wounded. Associated Press, Nairobi, Kenya. Gunfire hit three U.S. military aircraft trying to evacuate American citizens in a remote region of South Sudan that on Saturday became a battleground between the country's military and renegade troops, officials said. Four U.S. service members were wounded in the attack in the same region where gunfire downed the UN helicopter the day before. The U.S. military aircraft were about to land in Bor, the capital of the state of Jonglei, and scene of some of the nation's worst violence over the last week when they were hit. The military said the four wounded troops were in stable condition. The U.S. military said the three CV 22 Ospreys, which means we're talking United States Marine Corps, ladies and gentlemen, the kind of aircraft that can fly like a helicopter and a plane, were participating in a mission to evacuate American citizens in Bor. A South Sudan official said violence against civilians there has resulted in bodies sprinkled over town. So this is disturbing as well. I mean, this is something I didn't even know 2 days ago.
Yeah, and it's what's troubling is that these guys went into a hot zone and they didn't. Were they not told this was a hot zone? I mean, this is it kind of reminds me back of what happened in Afghanistan. I mean, we got to have some better intelligence than this. We got to know where we're sending these guys. And if extortion 17, like Terry Jung said, I mean, they have to know and prepare for what's ahead here, and we're just fortunate that there wasn't any deaths in this.
Kenya announced it was sending in Kenyan troops to evacuate 1,600 Kenyans stranded in South Sudan, many of them in Bor. Earlier this week, President Barack Obama dispatched American troops to help protect the U.S. Embassy in the capital, Juba, and NBC, CBS, CNN, and ABC, and I even think Fox News determined that that wasn't important enough information to report to me, to the United States, the American people. The embassy organized, that was me that just entered that, that wasn't part of the AP report. The embassy organized at least 5 emergency evacuation flights to help Americans leave the country. Other countries like Britain, Germany, and Italy also helped citizens evacuate. So thanks for uh, squaring us away and letting us know, but Steel City Resistance will let you know in the absence of crony media mouthpieces for Washington. Now, another bias type story. Uh, I'm going to let you roll down a couple of these tweets. This is from Twitchy, I believe. This is from Michelle Malkins. I know you like Michelle too, man. You get pictures with her all the time, whatever. But this is an eye opening breakdown of headline grabbing violence and mainstream media prejudice against conservatives. So, why don't you roll down through this?
Yeah. September 2009, census taker Bill Sparkman found hanged in rural Kentucky. Media speculates it was Tea Party. The fact is, the guy killed himself. Gabriel Malore, February 2010. Joe Stack flies small plane into an IRS building. Anti-tax Tea Party rhetoric blamed. He quoted from the Communist Manifesto, if you remember. Gabriel Malore again, February 2010. Amy Bishop shoots colleagues at University of Alabama faculty meeting. Gun-loving Tea Party suspected. She was an Obama voter. March 2010, John Patrick Bettel shot 2 Pentagon security. A right-wing extremist media asked a registered Democrat and 9/11 truther. May 2010, massive Times Square car bomb found. Bloomberg speculates it's someone upset about the Affordable Care Act. Actually, a plain vanilla jihadist scum.
August 2010, amid debate, Muslim cabbie stabbed in New York City. Media speculates a right wing nut job. Actually, a lefty art student off his meds. In September 2010, James Lee takes hostages at Discovery Channel headquarters. Media speculates climate change denier, an environmentalist who hates humans. Uh, and it just goes on and on and on. Uh, One of my favorite ones, I'm going to see if I can find it here. Uh, no, I know it's in here. The one where the guy shot up the Indian place, and is that in here? Muslim stab, Square. Uh, no, but anyway, I happened to be watching the Glenn Beck show as this happened, and one of the Brian Williams or one of the reporters said he thought it was a Tea Party guy, and they went through the Google and found guys with Brian Wilson's name or whatever that were associated with pedophilia and things. It was great. Did you see that one?
I did, and it's what they're doing. They get a name and they just go on to Facebook and then they'll plaster the guy up there and they don't even know if it's the right guy. But
But the guys,
I do remember
Pat and Stu and them,
sick.
they got in there and they started throwing some other ones out. I think that was one of his best shows, other than the ones where Pat gets all crazy and yelling all happy. Da, 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 da. That's the best. But usually after a Republican win or something like that. Yeah, we're going to run out of time here way before we run out of material. So make sure you go to the steelcityresistance.blogspot.com show notes links page for one. I think it's 139 to 152. This is episode 152, and there's a lot of good reading in there for sure. Uh, and now one of the most boring subjects, but one that is critical to report, Mr. J. Obama is illegally delaying Obamacare for some. He has repealed.
Abs- That's right. President Barack Obama has illegally suspended the single most important provision of Obamacare, the infamous individual mandate for some Americans. On December 19th, the president declared a change to the individual mandate, a provision that led to the first lawsuit in American history where a majority of states in this nation, 26 out of 50, sued the federal government over the constitutionality of the federal law, resulting in a historic Supreme Court decision that conservative lawyers and scholars roundly condemned insofar as it held up the individual mandate as a massive tax. Now, what the president did here was roll back the individual mandate for people that were canceled, lost their plan, and he rolled it back for a year. Now, here again, he's changing the rules of a law, that's supposed to be the law, and he just waves a magic wand. We touched on this on the Wayne Dupree show. Um, and, he's always the guy who talks about fairness, but here he is just, breaking the law, in my opinion.
Oh,
But,
sure.
again, did Congress give him the ability to do it? Maybe so. I don't know. But, I mean, this law is just coming unglued. And, they're putting duct tape and band aids on this thing wherever they can,
All to get
they find a hole in this
all to get
thing.
through the 2014 elections. And this is, I've said it before. There's going to be bodies associated with this at some point, and they're going to wear them. They are. This just I
And
saw a report, um, a refreshing report that showed some of the states getting really having had enough of this. A bunch of attorneys general lining up to sue this guy, and really, I saw another compelling argument for impeachment, and not to say that the Senate. I mean, we should make the Senate break the law, go against the truth. But even if the House just brought the articles, at that point, they sent it to the Senate, regardless of what the Senate did with it. The House would have ample justification to shut off all funding for everything. Everything that is related to what Obama has done should be defunded to $0. And everything comes to a halt. That's why it is imperative that one of the things we need to do in 2014 is to replace John Boehner. He can stay in Congress if you want to keep him there, Cincinnati. I would hope you don't. But he's been an utter failure. He could have done so much more than he's done. It's just ridiculous. I truly believe that if you wouldn't have seen the Tea Party emerge, I think you would have seen probably a Republican president and maybe a Republican Senate come in by 2016, and we still wouldn't repeal Obamacare. We'd make a couple tweaks to it here and there, but this is fine with them.
yeah, and another thing that Obama did here was he just took potential payers in the system out of the system. I mean, he got rid of the mandate, so these people can just go buy, if the insurance companies will let them buy one of these catastrophic plans, they're out of the system, and that's going to take some of the funding that they had projected for this thing and take it right out of it. So, it's going to collapse under its own weight. There's no payers; it's all takers.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the majority of people signing up are signing up for Medicare. I mean, and money's getting robbed out of Medicare. It's a train wreck, man. I mean, it's something that's gonna. I've never seen something like this before. This is you got to chuckle a little bit because we've been getting screwed for so long. It's finally, everything. It's all. And you're gonna have to go to the show notes links if you want to read the rest of the stories. Uh, but this is we're getting to a place where left is right, up is down, right is wrong, good is evil. I mean, we're getting the entire leftist platter on every venue, everywhere you look. This guy has done it all. I mean, and okay, administratively, yeah, you did it all, but wake these people from Louisiana up one time. That's what's starting to happen. The alarm in the morning is going off after the party on Saturday night. And people are starting to wake up and realize, we've got a serious problem here. We've got $17 trillion dollars in debt. We've got this massive new government arm in the TSA. The DHS is being run by the Muslim Brotherhood. The United States government is backing the Syrian rebels that are led by the Al Nusra Front from Iraq that we gave away after 5,000 Americans were killed there, and who knows how many wounded, and who knows how many's heads screwed up. We gave that back within the first year of this communist administration. Now, that hasn't totally sunk in yet. That's something that one of the things about this administration is they have done so much so fast that you don't have enough time to do things issue by issue. So it takes a while to get back to them. And Glenn Beck warned us about this. It was part of the plan. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to send it back to the Southern Command, and it's about time for us to wrap this thing up.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Thank you to all the loyal viewers out there. We're glad you're here. Uh, we like your comments. Keep them coming. And you can see what I'm up to at www.mrjausa.com. There's a donate button. I sure would like to help out Hutch and myself get to some of these events coming up in 2014. And you can also, if you want to make it personal, check me out at Chris Ivan at Facebook. And as always, you can always find me at MRJA USA at Facebook, Twitter, and Tea Party Community. You folks have a Merry Christmas if we don't see you, but we hope to see you later tonight. Maybe you can join us on FTR Radio, and there'll be some Wayne Dupree shows we'll be on, and we'll catch you then.
Thank you very much, Mr. J. We're placing the Southern Command back in a reserve status. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. Always appreciate it. I hope I unfroze. You guys are some good folks. We appreciate you following us. Len, I know you're on the road. Ogie's dad, to be or not to be. Hey, Leisha Smith, Scott Smallwood, Terry Jung, Ryan Kraft, Michael Sally, Virgil Edwards, Dano Picola, and Aaron Scott. Thank you very much. And to all the viewers that are watching the tape program, we love you too. I just don't have your names. My name is Hutch Bailey Jr., studios in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm a contributor and backup host on the Wayne Dupree Show, contributor to NewsNinja2012.com. You know about Steel City Resistance. The website is steelcityresistance.blogspot.com. You can subscribe to this show, the radio show, for free on iTunes. It's Surrounded in Pittsburgh, Steel City Resistance. Let's see what else we got there. Go to the website and check out the research room. There's a lot of ammo in there when you get into those debates, with the leftists and the Islamist apologists. You can get a lot of ammo in there. So I'm Berg's Eye View on Twitter, and you can email the show, scrtv@live.com, if there's something that you'd like us to cover. Go to, there, that's good. You can check out the Wayne Dupree Show right there, FTRradio.com. Go in the chat room as opposed to listen, and you'll be able to chat with some of the folks. I am the Godfather in there. Thank you for allowing us into your life for an hour. We really appreciate it, and we will keep you up to date with all the things that are going on. It's a very exciting time. Merry Christmas, Steel City Resistance, and we'll catch you next time.